Okay, here we go. Steve from San Antonio. Third question. Wow, okay. There is a tremendous amount of concern and anxiety among Texas citizens concerning illegal immigration, border transgressions, and violence, to include the cost to legal citizens to maintain illegal immigrants in the state. What is your position on border security and immigration, as well as an idea floating around that Texas backbill the federal government for border security services rendered? I got to take a cup of coffee on that one. That's a big one. Let me just kind of go back and revisit something that I said earlier. Illegal immigration is one enormous problem here in Texas. We have been struggling with it for a long time, and we have made that known to the federal government, and they have turned a blind eye. One of the things that just absolutely infuriated me was a couple years ago when Governor Perry was railing about the federal government and begging them for border enforcement and more resources. One of their response was to pass what was called the Alien Transfer and Exit Program. And that program, in essence, bundled up illegal immigrants that were interdicted in the southwestern states, put them on buses, drove them to Presidio, Texas, and then turned them loose. So, that was the federal government's response. It's very clear at this point that it's not just an Obama problem. This has been going on for some time through previous administrations. But it is quite clear that the federal government, for whatever reason, be it systemic failure, a lack of political will, they are not going to deal with the issue of illegal immigration or border security. That's just not on their radar. And you can divine any kind of political inference from that you want to, but the bottom line is they don't want to deal with it. So what I believe is this, and I'm going to tell you how I think Texas should tackle this, and then I'm going to address your issue about backbilling the federal government. First and foremost, I believe the state should de-incentivize illegal immigration. Make proof of citizenship a prerequisite for receiving any state funds or state services. Period. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. Unlike the record of my opposition here, where they give them driver's license, give them state paid health insurance. I believe in de-incentivizing it all across the board. That includes eliminating sanctuary cities and untying the hands of law enforcement. Do not make it easy. I look at illegal immigration like this, and I alluded to it in my earlier statement. Texas is our house. If you want to come to our house, knock on the front door, ring the doorbell, and if we're ready to let you in, if we're available, we'll let you in and we'll invite you in for coffee. Okay? But you're a guest. And you're going to be a guest until you prove to be a member of our family. But do not ever let me catch you breaking through my window to come into my house. Do not come into my house through the window and assume that my cable and my kitchen and my living room and my bedroom belong to you. That's the bottom line. If you look at it in those terms, it is common sense. But yet the politicians don't see it. So we have to stop incentivizing these illegal immigrants to come into Texas. Eliminate the state services. But the other side of that is border protection. And we know right now, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that the federal government lacks the will to protect our border. I believe in bolstering the enlistment, the recruitment for the Texas State Guard. I believe in fully militarizing the Texas State Guard. And I believe in deploying the Texas State Guard on our border. If we cut the services that we do not need and establish border security and eliminating incentives for illegal aliens, then that will be revenue neutral. That will pay for itself. But more than that, what will happen is the drain on the system. And I don't believe the propaganda that has come out from the other side that is pro-illegal immigration. But the drain on the system that exists because of unrestricted illegal immigration goes away. And there we have the ability at that point to take our unemployment rate almost down to its lowest level probably ever in history with the jobs that open up. So, I mean, it's a fairly complex situation, but it has a very simple answer. De-incentivize, protect the border, which brings me to Steve's last point, which is simply this. He wants to know about the idea floating around that Texas backbilled the federal government for border security. I'm going to tell you, and for those of you who don't know, I'm an enormous history buff, particularly Texas history. From the time that Texas came into the Union in 1845 up until the Civil War, Texas and the U.S. government had a running battle over security on the border. Texas believed that it was the federal government's responsibility to defend the border, and the federal government did not disagree. And so, because the federal government would not do it, Texas would deploy Texas Rangers down there and state militia down there to have to deal with border incursions. And consistently, Texas would send bills to the federal government to say, look, this is your job, we're doing it, you should pay for it. And the federal government refused. So this issue of the federal government not doing their job and Texas wanting to bill them goes all the way back to right after Texas entered the Union. Okay, so they didn't pay it then, and I don't think they're going to pay it now. But there are some other steps that we could very likely take to either force the issue on the border or to at least force the government to either pay or to protect the border. So, I mean, there's several issues, whether it be through lawsuits or whatever. But don't look to those solutions. The solutions that we have to pursue are Texas solutions. And on the issues of immigration and the border, we almost have to act like the federal government doesn't exist. Because on this particular issue, they don't.